the country of the Netherlands, for the team of the Cobra Nova. I had to experience a variety of different issues and challenges throughout my stay, so I wanted to dig deeper into this topic. So let's begin. Maguire describes forced labor migration as a direct outcome of the globalization process, which is an increasingly visible form of transnational athletic movements. Falcos defines sport labor migration as a process that includes athletes who travel around the world for sporting opportunities and encounter varying circumstances, barriers, and incentives. While athletes migration is often framed through economics or globalization, this project takes a sociological and ethnographic approach, focusing on the subjective experience of the athletes themselves. I used qualitative semi-structured interview with a professional player from Europe who have played across some European countries, which allowed me for a deeper understanding of how athletes make sense of their migration, emotionally, socially, and culturally. One of the key frameworks I drew is the concept of mobility regimes by Glick-Schauer E. Salazar, which reminds us that movement across borders is not just physically but shaped by systems of power, like restrictions, club policies, and foreign player quotas. In many cases, the career trajectory of migrant athletes is non-linear and uncertain. Players describe the difficulty of adjusting to short-term contracts, unfamiliar coaching styles, and teams where they were seen as easily replaceable. Drawing on Bourdieu's concept of field, we can think of professional sport as a competitive social arena where athletes must constantly different types of capital, physical skills, cultural adaptability, social connections into value to remain relevant. But migration affects more than career trajectory; it reshapes personality and social belonging. By using Schiller's transnationalism theory, I understood how athletes live in between cultures, maintaining ties to home while trying to integrate into some new societies. Many described feelings of social isolation, missing family, and struggling to build friendships outside of the team. And at the same time, all players spoke about personal growth. Migration challenged them to become more resilient, open-minded, and independent. Some embraced their outsider status and found solidarity in diverse locker rooms. This showcases the identity negotiation theory by Think to Me, which highlights how individuals constantly adjust their self-presentation and cultural performance in response to new environments. In this sense, the experience of being a migrant athlete isn't just about mobility, it's about navigating multiple shifting identities. Who they are on the court may be recognized and celebrated, but off the court they may feel invisible or isolated. Unfortunately, the literature that I found looks from the perspective of players playing for the top divisions in Europe. That is why I wanted to dig deeper and see how these international players deal with these challenges in the lower division of the league, and if they have to mitigate extra challenges and obstacles during their stay abroad. My guest today is a young Bulgarian prospect who at the age of 19 decided to move abroad and pursue his basketball career. His name is Vladimir Nankinski. He played for the youth and men's team of CSKA Sofia, won championships, and presented the national team of Bulgaria on numerous of competitions. He later moved to play for La Scuola di Basket Lecce in Italy Division C and later on for the German Regional League Science City Weimar Jena. At such a young age he had to move around and figure it out in new countries, experiencing the cultural shocks and diverse basketball environments. With this interview we want to follow his career path and learn if the players have the opportunity and environment to succeed and develop themselves both professionally and as a person. So hi Vladi, so happy to have you here with us today. As you know, we're gonna discuss how player migration influences basketball athletes' life, both personally and professionally. So, how are you feeling today?
I'm perfect. How about you?
I'm very good also. Thank you for asking. So, if you don't have any questions to ask me, we can start with the interview if it's okay with you.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't have any questions.
Okay. So, as we already mentioned, you started your career back in Bulgaria and then you proceeded to move to Italy and Germany. So my first question for you is what motivated your decisions to play in these countries?
My decision is because in Bulgaria we didn't receive uh, enough time to play. I mean, for a professional basketball player in for men's. Um, so I decided just to move to the other countries that I can try in not that good level, but to have enough minutes to play, and then to get some experience that I can use in my future.
Okay, that's a very big reason actually why a lot of players in Bulgaria move to another countries just because of the
Absolutely.
lack of opportunities to develop their careers.
Yeah,
So moving on to your initial adjustments, because of course moving to a new country should be like a probably was a big shock for you and like a big experience.
absolutely. Yeah.
So my second question is, what were your first impressions moving to Italy and later to Germany?
In Italy, I really like the weather, the food, the churches, the buildings, but most of the people didn't speak the English very well, and that was ridiculous for me. Also, the driving was crazy, but Italy has own charm, actually. Everybody knows that. In Germany, everything was more organized. People spoke really good English. Everybody, actually. Rules were followed, not like Italy. There was so bad in this category. And in Germany, it was really cold. In Italy, it was super warm. But that's it, actually. Nothing crazy.
Okay. And would you say that your first interactions between the people in both of the countries were different?
For the people in Italy was a little bit harder because they didn't speak English, and that obviously was problem for me because I couldn't speak free with them. I spoke only with my teammates and with my coaches, but they were different than my country, than the people in Bulgaria. In Germany, I thought before to go, I thought they were really, really cold people, but now I think different because all of my teammates were super supportive. Um, the coach always wanted to talk with me to feel good. I had people in our organization in the team that they only worked for that to I feel good and to only to think for the basketball. But yeah,
Okay, so from what I heard from you, I see that you had quite some language barriers to deal with during your
yeah.
time there, if I'm
In
correct.
Italy, not in Germany, only in Italy.
Oh yeah. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah,
My bad. Only in Italy.
yeah.
So, can you maybe elaborate and tell us a bit more on how did you manage with the language barriers in Italy? Did they improve at some time or did they stay the same through the most of your stay?
It stayed the same. It was crazy actually. Stayed the same the whole time. Even I have one situation. Uh, in the end of the season, that um, actually it was in the end of the season, and I called to our third coach. He was young. He was like 22, 23, something like that. And I wanted to go to grab some coffee with him because he spoke a little bit better. He was like, "Yeah, sounds good, but let's go to call to other guys, to my teammates." And we went together, and again they spoke on Italy the whole time, and I didn't understand anything. I mean, anything. I stayed just 2 hours on in the coffee and understand anything. And I was with myself and just I don't remember, but I think I was just looking at my phone and some Instagram and text with my friends and not with my teammates. I wasn't there. I just drank a coffee and nothing else.
Yeah. Yeah, that sounds a bit like putting you on the side, which
Absolutely. Yeah. It's
yeah, which can
it
be
was like I wasn't there.
how did the cultural differences influence your daily life there? As you said already, you go for a coffee, but the coaches invite all of the other players, and you again feel isolated and didn't feel included in the conversations due to them speaking only Italian. So, do you think you can maybe explain a bit more on how the cultural difference in Germany, for example, because you said that there you felt more included. What was the main difference between those two countries and their cultures?
I can say the coaches, but I can say also for the practices. In Italy, the training were everybody weren't that focused actually. In Germany, it's not like that. In Germany, they follow the rules. That's the difference between the Italian players and the German players. Um, for example, in Germany, we had individual basketball and fitness sessions. But in Italy, it wasn't like that. I mean, in Italy, it's like you can go if you want, but it's not something that you have to do for sure. In Germany, it's not like that. They tell you have to go, for example, at 7 a.m. in the gym, and you have to be there 15 minutes earlier. If you don't do it, it's very bad for your game. I mean, for your time you play, your minutes you play,
Yeah,
and for your salary actually, not only for time play, the time you play. So it's really different between these things. Is really different between the both of the countries. These things in the people that one of them follows the rules, the other no. For example, in Italy, I had a couple situations that my teammates came super late for our practice, for example, 10, 15 minutes. Um, and everything was cool. They're like, okay, just come in, you start to practice, you can warm up and just join us. That was crazy. In Germany, you should be ready 15 minutes before the practice. You have to be warmed up already and to start to talk about the practices for the practice and to start to talk what you're gonna do to talk for the next team, things like that. That was huge difference for me, and I really like that because it felt more professional. That's the difference.
yeah.
More
Okay.
for the coaches, yeah, it's a good question. My Italian coach, I had a moment that I felt really good in the practices. I felt really comfortable, and I told him. That I feel everything super easy. We need to practice more aggressive to build better defense, for example, things like that, that we need to learn more. Because for me, it was super easy to practice and I didn't feel any uh, troubles during the game, things like that. And he was every time, okay, we gonna do it, don't worry about it. And we didn't do anything about it. In Germany, we practice hard. I told the coach that we can do, for example, some moves, uh, some to change our practices, to play games, things like that. That, of course, it's not my job, but he listened me really. And as I said, we had individual practices that come from the coach, not from the players. Um, so yeah, the professional side of the things is from the coaches also, not only for the club, not only for the organizations. The German coach was real professional coach.
Yeah,
He look at you, for example, when you play, and he can say in the same moment what you have to improve. Not only just practice around something there and everything's cool, and let's go home to drink beers, for example.
okay. That's yeah, I really see the differences between those two countries. And I clearly see that there are like very different approaches regarding the training sessions, the being strict with the time and when are you at the practice facility, if you're prepared for the practice. And from what I'm hearing
Yeah,
also in
the
Germany,
professional
you
part
have,
is different.
yeah, yeah. So, and you guys are professional basketball players, so this
Yeah,
one should be a very strict to follow. So,
absolutely.
how did these different uh, coaching practices and managing of the players influenced also your approach to the games that you guys have to play,
Power play.
and also the performance, and also your performance?
Okay, in Italy, I felt really good, for example, my mental and physical, but I wasn't used to living abroad, so it was a little bit difficult. I wasn't ready mentally to go there. When I went there, after first week I felt better, but at all I didn't. Um, I wasn't prepared enough to move, and in Germany was better. Um, but I knew that everybody expect a lot of me, so that was a difficult in the both countries. My performance in Italy was bad at all for the season. Set in Germany was better. I improved there my performance for sure. It's a big difference that you can speak, you can talk with everybody, and just to feel better. And that's also it's also on the court, not only in your life, but better was better for sure.
Mm-hmm. So moving to the team dynamics in the team, how did your relationships with the teammates and coaching staff influence your adaptation process, the beginning of your
Mhm.
seasons in Italy and Germany?
In Italy, I had okay relationship with my coach and with the players, but it wasn't perfect again because of communication. I live with two guys um, in same apartment. The apartment was huge, but we lived in the same place. With them, my relationship was better because we were together 24/7. But with the others, it wasn't that good. Um, I think the only problem was the communication. Yeah, we talked a little bit, not enough for sure. They really liked me, but they weren't able to really know me, if you
Mm-hmm.
understand, you
Yeah.
get me. In Germany, everything was great, again because of communication. But I got along well with everyone, and the coach really liked me. I respect him, and we had a strong connection because of that. And as I said, during the practice, he always watched me, and in the same moment, he can tell me what I can improve to my game. And that was every practice. And that I really respect that in him.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
Yeah. Okay, I get you. And I was actually interested if any of the countries provide like support programs for international players.
in Italy, no, actually, but in Germany, yes. We had some who help with everything, absolutely everything. I already said that. I already told you, yeah. But his job was to make sure that we were okay, so we could focus only on the basketball, nothing else. We also went to club events that we show us as a players,
Mm-hmm.
and they also create German lessons for us just to help us to improve our language barriers and to, for example, to go to the supermarket to buy a sandwich, things like that. You can feel better if you do it on
Yeah,
there,
just
not on
general,
English. Yeah,
yeah, just general life stuff.
absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And did the club or the organization help you with adjusting to your new environment, like housing, paperwork, health insurances?
Yeah, in the both countries actually, but they help me with housing, documents, and healthcare. But in Italy, I lived in, as I said, in Bulgarian apartment with two other guys. In Germany, I lived alone, which was better for me because sometimes the players want to be alone, just to think about the game and things like that. I mean, it's different to live with somebody and to live alone. And for me, for my personality, it's better to live alone, and that helped me to feel better. In the same time, my teammates lived in the same building, so if I wanted, I could talk with him or with them. But if I wanted to stay alone, I could. I couldn't in Italy, and that was huge different. But only in Germany we had physiotherapists, for example. I didn't have in Italy. I had to go, for example, in the hospital and things like that if I needed something. Um, that's really important for one player, actually, to have physical support. And also, I went one time to the hospital in Germany, and everything was free for me. So yeah, they covered everything. Uh, As I said, I only want as I said, I had only to think about basketball, nothing else.
Yeah, from what you told us, I can see that you experienced a lot of different scenarios and ways of living, difficulties with communication and cultural differences. So I want to move on to you as a person, and I wanted to ask how did those experiences shape you and help you to become the person that you are now?
Living in Italy and Germany helped me to grow a lot. In Italy, I had many problems, especially with the language and the culture. That made me more independent and tough. Um, Taught me how to stay calm in a new place. Just learn how to manage everything, every problem. In Germany, I felt stronger and more confident. I made good relationship, had better routine, and learn skills that help me in the life, not just in the basketball, in the life, and how to live alone, how to manage everything. So, because when you live totally alone, you have to think not only for your professional life, you have to think about your personal life. For example, the food, to move somewhere, to go somewhere, to things like that. Your communications outside of the court, things like that. You have another relationships, not only with your teammates. For example, someone who doesn't play basketball because you need friends.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay. That's very nice that you overcame all of these challenges and managed to change yourself and your way of thinking and approaching different cultures and different people. And do you have maybe for last any advice for people that are figuring out if they want to go and develop their careers, their basketball careers professionally outside of their home countries?
Just to be ready to prepare themselves, not just their bodies, but also the mind. It's not only basketball actually. When you move somewhere, it's not only basketball. You face a new culture and new language. Learn a little about the country before you go. It's really important, and be open for new things. That's for sure. To ask for help, it's something you have to do for sure. It's okay to ask for help, and take time to build relationships. That's really important with your teammates, with the coaches, outside of the club. If you can, it's perfect for sure. In Italy, I didn't have any relationships out of the basketball. It was really tough because I couldn't go anywhere if my teammates didn't want to go somewhere. I mean, Germany was different. I had friends outside of the court, so I could think for something else than basketball. The other thing is just to stay focused. It's gonna be really hard, and there's gonna be a lot of tough moments, but you have to grow. That's it. It's not easy, but it's 100% worth it.
Great. That was a great interview, Vladi. Thank you so much for being here with us, and we wish you
Thank
good
you
luck
too.
with your future career. From what we heard, we can say that Vladimir's story aligns closely with Maguire's framing of sport migration as a product of globalization and with Falco's emphasis on the barriers and incentives that shapes athletes' decisions. The player spoke about adjusting to different coaching styles, navigating language barriers, and coping with the instability of short-term contracts, clearly reflecting Falco's idea of athletes facing varied circumstances during their migration journey. The social-cultural dimension came through especially powerfully when applying Schiller's transnationalism theory. Vladimir shared his struggle to build friendships outside the team and spoke about feelings of isolation, homesickness, and desire for deeper connections. Yet in the same time he highlighted personal growth. He became more resilient, open-minded, and independent. Living in between countries, as Schiller describes, forced him to evolve both as an athlete and as a person. Through this ethnographic approach, we see how the abstract frameworks globalization, transnationalism, and the sociology of sport are lived daily by migrant athletes. The interview doesn't just illustrate these theories, it showcases the life of those athletes and how they manage to deal with a variety of challenges through their stay in different countries. Thank you for your watching, and we hope to see you again in our next episode.